Lesson 10, Example 5. So this brings us to the last example in our note sheet. In this example, we're taking the parent function f of x is equal to x to the third power, and we're transforming it by adding three things: this 1/3, the negative, and the 2. So you should see three transformations. So let's go ahead and list those over here. Our first transformation, remember, would be shifts left and right, but there's nothing being added or subtracted from x, so there are no horizontal shifts. The next thing you do is shrinking and stretching, so that involves this 1/3. So this would be a horizontal, and in this case it's going to be a stretch because remember it's opposite of what you would think. And in class, I mentioned that it's a stretch by a factor of 3. In ALEKS, they say it's a factor of 1/3 because you are going to divide by 1/3, which is the same as multiplying by 3. On a test, I would take either as long as you do the right thing in the transformation work over here. So just to be consistent with ALEKS, and I'm sorry I may have confused you in class, let's use 1/3. All right, the second transformation is the reflection, and since it's in here with x, this would be a horizontal reflection. So a horizontal reflection reflects it this way to the side, and so that's going to be over the y-axis because the y-axis is the one that goes up and down. And then the third transformation is this +2. It's not inside with x, so it's a vertical shift, and that would be up 2. All right, so let's start with our graphing work. So we start with our parent function. Remember that the parent function is f of x is equal to x to the third. And again, we go with our traditional 5 numbers, -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Then we're going to plug them into our parent function. Remember, we're not plugging into here, we're plugging into our parent function. So -2 to the third power is -8. -1 to the third power is -1. 0 to the third power is 0. 1 to the third power is 1, and 2 to the third power is 8. All right, so now our first transformation is going to be our horizontal stretch by 1/3. So since it's horizontal, that means that you are changing x. And since it's stretching, you can think of it in one of two ways. You can think of taking your x values and dividing by 1/3, which is the same thing if you remember the old keep it, change it, flip it. Change division to multiplication and flip the second fraction, it becomes 3. So -2 times 3 is going to give me -6. -1 times 3 will give me -3. 0 times 3 will give me 0. 1 times 3 is 3. And 2 times 3 is 6. Then I'm going to repeat my y values from the last table. And that's our first transformation. The second transformation, let me do it here. Remember, our second transformation was a horizontal reflection over the y-axis. Again, if it's horizontal, that is going to change my x values. So I'm going to take my x values and I'm going to multiply by -1. So negative 6 times negative 1 would give me positive 6. Negative 3 times negative 1 would give me positive 3. 0 still 0. 3 times negative 1 would give me negative 3, and 6 times negative 1 would give me negative 6. Again, bringing down my y values. So that's my second transformation. And my third transformation is your shift up 2. All right. So since it's up 2, that's going to change y, right? Because up is a y direction. So we're going to take all our y values and add 2 to them. So negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. Negative 1 plus 2 would give me 1. 0 plus 2 will give me 2. 1 plus 2 will give me 3. And 8 plus 2 will give me 10. Then I'll bring over my x values, 6, 3, 0, negative 3, and negative 6. So that's the last transformation. So now I'm going to plot these points. So I have 6, negative 6, which is going to be right here. I have 3, 1, which is right here. I have 0, 2, which is here. I have negative 3, 3, which is here. And then I have negative 6, 10, which is up here. So, has still the same kind of snaky shape. But let's look at all the transformations. So we see that it is stretched. So when you're stretching it horizontally, you're pulling it in this direction. And so you see the legs of that are stretched horizontally because they're wider here and here. We see the reflection, so this piece of the graph is now on this side, and this piece of the graph is now on this side. So it took it and flipped it horizontally across the y-axis. And then you see that it's been shifted up 2. So that's your lesson on transformation of functions. Hopefully you'll get some more practice with lesson 10 and Alex, and you'll become masters at transforming graphs.